I went to my appointment an hour from my house today and no, there was nobody there. So I decided instead to come do a quick stop and shop at one of my favorite places in season, not on Main Street, not just an antique mall. And that's true. There's all sorts of stuff here. We're going to go see what it is. Gotta say, this place is getting newer and newer, and yet there are still antiques in the middle of things. Here's an East Lake spoon card, 1890s era. Little commode. It's a commode because, well, the chamber pot went down there. They're very useful today for other things, though, and they're at $2.25 for this little washstand. That's a pretty fair price. Well, they are not kidding that a lot of this is not antique anymore, and I spared you a lot of the front of the building, but when we get up to the front windows here, we do see some antiques and vintage, and there is more in the back. So let's take a look at this really beautiful streamlined beauty here. This is 1930s. Anchor Hawking came up with Royal Ruby. They were able to figure out how to make this color of red without using gold, so it became available to the masses. But to sharpen it up, they put that really neat silver electroplate on it, so it's got that great Art Deco linear design.
It's hard to imagine today, but having glass in a red color was the province of the wealthy until Anchor Hawking came up with Royal Ruby in 1938. If you had money before that, you bought something a little bit more like this next piece we're going to show you.
A clear piece of glass worth recognizing is this. See the graduated beads on the outside? That is a candle wick by Imperial Form. They made 641 pieces in that line. Now that we're moving away from the spaces full of freshly painted new furniture, we're starting to see some old stuff. This lusterware pitcher from Niagara Falls. That's a pretty one, 1930s. And yep, Japanese mark. Makes sense. One thing we see a lot in Florida are these ceramic Christmas trees, and they are very popular here. A lot were made in the 70s by people who lived here. A couple of things on this shelf that I have customers for. Paperweight vases can do well, but look how the bubbles are not very controlled, not well controlled. And then look up here and you see this one is made in Japan. There was a lot of sort of knockoff glassware done in Japan in the 60s. But this, on the other hand, is really cool with the little bit of silver deposit on the outside. This is a sand timer, and sand timers are always good sellers, and it's only $12.50. That should sell for about 3 times that. So I'm going to buy that and take it to my shows and see who appreciates it like I do.
Sand timers are just one of those interesting things to have around a house that people don't seem to be able to find when they want one, but they're great for gifts, and so I always pick them up when I see them in the wild. Kaleidoscopes, osmoscopes, little parlor games like that, they always sell because they're fun and they're little conversation starters to lay around a person's living room.
Oh, and at only about $3.50 a piece, I'll definitely pick up 1 or 2 of these Ohio glasses. They all sell. Since I thought I was having an appointment, I didn't expect to have time to go here, and so my time is somewhat limited, but I definitely will take time to look in these little cases because a lot of these little oddball pieces are things that you might pay $8 or $10 or $12 for and get 30 or 40 or 50 on eBay or at a show, so it's always worth taking a gander in these cases. Tortured love comics of the 1960s are not a big collectible area in the comic realm, but they are really funny to read. Oh dear, don't let me do this terrible thing again that I'm already doing that I'm not supposed to be doing again.
This next piece is important to see because a lot of people are seeing these passed off as Murano with fake labels. So let's take a look at this one that has its honest label on it and learn a little something along the way.
Made in Poland. Take a good look at this one. There's the label. It even looks a little bit worn because it's probably 25, 30 years old. But this is still where things are being made currently. So don't be fooled that it's old Italian. I'm definitely going to buy this guy here. $12.50 Cloak and Dagger. I don't know if he's ornery or if he's just something somebody made, but he's pretty great. I always look at old totems. Even these roadside attraction totems from the 1950s are good. This one, a little scuffed up, but only $12.50. That's a great price. And I've also got to get this guy, the Chef Spoon Rust. He's a plastic fantastic from the 50s, and he's worth about double this $3.50 price. You might look at the price on this and say, gee, even the plain Pyrex is going through the roof, but there is a white color called opals that has always been expensive in Pyrex.
$35 on this Fitz and Floyd vase. They definitely took over the whimsy market. There's a nice Red Wing vase in the middle there, in that lovely fan shape from the 40s, and then an Empoli glass piece, and that's priced at $95.
Here we go, the original colors of Fiesta. So the 30s, green, turquoise, orange, also called red. That was the one that was taken out of production in 1941 because the uranium went to the war effort. There's the cobalt blue, yellow, and ivory, like the teapot, which is $149. Then in the 50s, they add gray, and they add this mauve color here. And those are the original sets of colors. The prices seem reasonable. They've marked some things down to reflect current pricing. And I think their prices are very fair. $65 for that, and $149 on the craft. I think these are definitely fair collector prices.
It's a pretty amazing testament to the quality of a design that it continued to be made after 86 years of production. The next thing we're going to show you, well, they're not in business anymore, but the product is similarly old and in really amazing condition.
These 1920s women's shoes are immaculate and have the original tag. They've never been worn. That's pretty amazing, and they're old enough to be true antiques now. $125. Little feet. Women were a lot smaller back then overall. Nice tobacco burst finish on this very inexpensive guitar. $160. And this is a good ukulele. This is Duke Hanamoku, famous Olympic surfer who introduced the sport to the world. They also have a mandolin here. Their prices are very reasonable. I mean, they're not pretending they have anything really expensive, but they're lots of fun, and they're definitely playable.
Someone from New Jersey brought the inscribed crockery jug on the left there down. This is from about 1900.
I think this is a really cool vintage transistor radio. Fuji Denki Seiso KK Japan. And it says it works. $35. That could be a good price. Old radios can be very valuable. This one seems like it was probably cheap when new, so that may be about the right price, but we'll take a look. Well, now we're talking. We'll just put that right in our pile.
That's a great example of where seeing a sign that says half off makes you jump before you look at things closely. It turns out that little radio is missing its antenna, but it does still work, and I'm still going to put it on eBay and see how it does.
I don't usually buy singles, but it's the Swordfish, and it's $10. I'm going to take that one. Sirocco wood ships are $26. Ready to go to the Florida beach in 1979. $325 boat and trailer attached. Only $350 a piece on the Courier knives that matches the Royal China dinnerware. And that's the tall ones, and then the juice glasses are the same. I have a feeling you could make money on eBay with flipping those. They have the taller ones down here as well. All of this is half price. These also went with a dinnerware pattern. $15 and $30 on the commemorative pieces. Silver Jubilee and diamond. These are well priced too. They obviously sold for a lot more back when this kind of china was really in vogue. People need to start entertaining and having some fun again. $9 each on these, that's a good deal. They have quite a large selection of this. It looks like it was a set that somebody had that has come to market. $10 each on the plates. Let's see how much the casserole is these days. Only $30. You won't need these in Florida, but if you have to go back north early, well, these are $125. $40 on sale. A fantastic 70s clock. It's too bad it's as is. It's got a little bruise there, and it may or may not work, but it is a great design. They are not kidding about this. Prices in the 12 to 20 range. And a little bit more. The one on the left, $90. The one on the right, $190. Lots of fun stuff. I wish I found this much Christmas. Here's a bunch of Lefton, Holly and Berry. That suffers in the marketplace because it looks too much like handmade stuff from the same era.
That's just one of those weird market vagaries where you have something that's professionally made that looks like something that's amateurly made, and the amateurly made thing is really popular, and the professionally made thing not so much. Strange anomaly in the collecting market, but there you go.
I like the Hall China refrigerator dishes here from 1930s. I think that's a Hot Point logo. $38 each on those. Lots of Hummels. They are starting to sell again, and they have prices as low as $20, so they're in the right ballpark. And a bunch of Royal Daltons, and they do not seem to be selling very well right now. Sad to say. Bambi wine rack. This has a little age now, probably late 70s, early 80s. Import stuff, and this is priced at $45. A lot of spaces with just sort of stuff. But there might be something in the middle of stuff like this bowling trophy up here. It's got a good Art Moderne base. And she's only $8. I think I've got to get that. This is really helpful because it is not inscribed. So that's going to make it a lot more applicable to a lot of different customers. And you can see in there, it was made by a place on Central Avenue in St. Pete. But Dodge was the company out of Michigan that made the actual piece. The Hager version of these sells for a bit. These are Otagiri. They have them priced at $35 for the pair. I don't think that's a bad price anymore. Hull did a version of these as well, Hull. I'm tempted to buy them, but I really only think they're worth about $55 to $65 for me, and that's not really enough of a profit on a $35 investment. The Scotsman is chipped. Too bad. 16 would have been a good price. This appears to be real enough, but probably 20th century, mid 20th century, judging by the hinges and the way it's made. Inside, it does have the look of the old spool cabinets, but it also has Phillips head screws. So that tells us that it's of a later date. If I can find the screw to show you, there we go. Priced at $2.99, 15% off, reasonable offers accepted. I mean, that's something that should sell. This thing on the wall is really cool. It is they say very rare, well, I'd say at least scarce, but it's a Labarge mirror, and it is something that was made to have a panel shoved in front of it so you didn't see a mirror, and then you pulled that piece out when you wanted to look in the looking glass. Well, it's not really old enough to be a looking glass. It's right around 19 teens. But it's really neat. It's $175, which if I had the right house for it, I would.
This mirror is really interesting. I've only seen one other one like it, and it was in Lehman's Antiques in Paducah, Kentucky, which is the home of Fatbird Finds.
Here's the Treasure Craft salt and pepper shaker for the Seven Dwarves. Of course, there's only a salt and pepper, so they decided on Sneezy, of course, and Bashful. $29.95 for the pair. That seems about the right price these days. I do have those shown in my book. It does seem like the really older, more interesting stuff to me is being relegated more and more to the back of the place, but there is still a bunch of it, and I have to say I'm buying more than anybody else I see. This place is mobbed, but people aren't really picking things up because a lot of this is just sort of new, decorative, cute, but just stuff that people have thrifted or garage saled. And, you know, I think some people are looking for a more real experience about the antique and vintage part of things. So that's my customer anyway. But hey, we are finding interesting things and things that I can flip for a profit. If you are finding this interesting, please click the thumbs up to let us know. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Just click the subscribe button below or check in the description of any video for information, subscriptions to memberships and all that good stuff. Interesting early to mid 20th century Royal Dalton pieces. These are various Shakespearean scenes. We have Orlando, we have Hamlet, we have Romeo. These were considered very classy when they were made, and I think they have a nice look. And the prices are not bad. They haven't really changed in years. $49 for the bowl seems about right. $35 for the Hamlet plate, $29 for Romeo, which is smaller. They have a great aspect, and with people getting more interested in classicism, perhaps these will become more in vogue. Well, at the Venice show, and I didn't really have any, unfortunately. Someone asked for pilgrim glass, so I'm looking at these bells. They're 15% off. Well, they were $20. They have it as cranberry label, but it's actually the Amberina that they did. This is from about 1980 when they were doing this particular logo.
Back when we ran the Pilgrim Glass Factory outlet in Centralia, Washington, we were introduced to what great quality their glass was. And I'm so excited that there's people starting to collect their stuff now. They've been out of business for 20 years.
$55, but it has chips. These really have gone up in value. It used to be I got $55 for these just a few years ago. Now I'd say they're probably closer to $75 or $85. They just are disappearing into collections fast. Ooh, Susie Homemaker Juicer. Haven't seen this before. $46.39, $9.99. Nope, that's the ice cream scoop. Let's get this right. $29.99 less 15%. Haven't seen that one before. I like old beer trays, but I'm having trouble finding them at prices I can afford. These are $40, which is about retail. This one's pretty worn, but I like the old Knickerbocker. And that one's $19.99, but the condition is just not good enough. A couple of neat Crocs. I like this one from Webster, Massachusetts in particular. I like any of them that have old stores or old distributors or old products that we don't know about anymore. That one's probably from about 1900, and it is, with the discount, around $65. And this is not a bad price. This is going to be late 1800s, made in Louisville, Lithgow. Interesting wire handle that somebody put on there. They may have made that originally. It says it's sold as is, though, but that is about $85 with the discount. The old TWA bag is cool. I like airline stuff, but that's just a little bit too worn for me. And it is priced with discount at about $20. You loot, we shoot. Oh, now that's fun. I got to see how much that is. And welcome, by the way. Oh, $19.99. Yeah, I'll take that. Some dad had a lot of fun making that in the 1960s, I would say. Fenton piece here in the Rosaline in this dusty pink color, $38. Paper label, so this is probably around 1970.
I keep mentioning that I think the color pink is coming back in interior decorating. Here's a couple of pinks, the one we just saw from the 70s, and this next one from a slightly later era.
As we're talking about the 80s coming back in, this has a Made in Taiwan label on the bottom. It's from the late 80s. In the early 80s, Treasure Craft and Hager and other companies in America were making such things. The later ones are flimsier, they are more common, and yet they have $55 on this one because they think it's 1930s. Lots of little Fenton pieces. 20% off. We're looking at about $15 to $30 on most of these, which is right in the ballpark. Cute collection of bells as well. And some of the cats in the shoes. Franciscan Picnic. I've always liked this pattern. Set of 6 for $12. Wow. Okay, well, they got me there. 1973. Very 1973. I would think that these would sell for about $5 each. So that's too good to pass up, and I'll bet the plates are similarly cheap. Ooh, $8 for 4. Yes, I'll take those two. Cliben, Mom Cat. He died young. This is $15. Brock Farmstead. This is a cute pattern from about 1960. There's the Brock of California label. $25 is a pretty fair price on that. Half off with the box. I think I'll take that.
Well, they may not be all antique, but I sure found plenty of fun stuff. I spent $110. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And
if you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.